When I first moved into my apartment in downtown San Francisco, I was ecstatic. It was a fresh start, my own place in the big city, free of the baggage of my past. As a recent college graduate, I had just landed a great job at a tech startup and was excited to start a new chapter of my life. The apartment itself was perfect, a charming one-bedroom in an old building a few blocks from the office. The realtor, a kind older woman named Mrs. Myers, enthusiastically showed me around. "This place has been completely renovated," she said with a smile. "Brand new appliances, wood floors, lots of natural light, and the building is very well maintained. It has such a nice, homey atmosphere." I loved the space as soon as I stepped over the threshold of the house. The open floor plan felt airy and spacious, and the large windows let in lots of sunlight. It was exactly what I was looking for. I immediately signed the lease, looking forward to moving in and starting my new independent life. At first, everything seemed normal. I spent my evenings unpacking and setting up the apartment, but soon strange things began to happen. Objects moved out of place. There was a faint creak in the middle of the night, and a chill ran through the room. I tried to convince myself that these were just normal noises and quirks of an old building. However, the incidents quickly escalated. Closets opened on their own, and my bedroom door creaked as if someone was entering the room. Every now and then I would catch a glimpse of a figure in the shadows, but it would disappear as soon as I turned to look. The final straw came one night as I was getting ready for bed. I was in the bathroom brushing my teeth when suddenly the mirror began to fog up. To my horror, I watched as the fog began to form into the words, "Get out." With bated breath, I stared at the message and quickly erased the fog, but the words instantly reappeared. In a panic, I ran out of the bathroom, slamming the door behind me. I hardly slept a wink that night. Every creak, every movement of the shadows made me fearful. I knew I couldn't stay there any longer. The next day, I frantically searched for a new place to live. Luckily, I was able to find an inexpensive sublet in a building on the other side of town. As I loaded the last of the boxes into the car, I took one last look back at the apartment, and then I saw him, his face pale and contorted, peering out from behind the curtains in the living room. I froze, blood freezing in my veins. The face disappeared as quickly as it had appeared, leaving me shocked and anxious. I jumped out of the house and drove to my apartment without looking back. I was relieved to leave that haunted apartment, but the experience left me deeply shaken. What had I encountered there, and why was it so determined to make me leave? Over the next few weeks, I tried to forget the ordeal, but the memories of that ghostly face continued to haunt me. I jumped up at every unexplained noise, certain that a supernatural presence was haunting me. Unable to shake off the feeling that I was being watched, I decided to do some digging. I tracked down the previous occupant, a young woman named Sarah. "This place has been buzzing with supernatural activity for years," she informed me grimly. "Apparently, a brutal murder had occurred in my old apartment decades ago. A young woman had been brutally stabbed to death by her jealous ex-boyfriend. His spirit never seemed to leave the scene of the crime. Goosebumps ran down my spine as I listened to Sarah's story. No wonder the apartment was so uncomfortable and uninviting. I thanked her for the information and swore I'd forget about this cursed place forever. But the spirit of the murdered woman seemed to have other plans. In the following months, strange phenomena began to happen to me in my new apartment. Doors slammed shut on their own, and shadowy figures flickered in the corners of my eyes. Desperate to find answers, I turned to the local paranormal investigation team. After inspecting my house, they broke the news. It was indeed haunted by the restless spirit of a murdered woman. She's attached to you for some reason, the investigator explained grimly. It seems this entity followed you from your previous home. We believe she is seeking revenge or some sort of closure she never got in life. My heart ached as I digested this information. I was completely at the mercy of this vengeful ghost, unable to rid myself of her malevolent presence wherever I went. I had to take drastic action, and I made the difficult decision to move out of the city entirely, to escape the spirit's power. I packed my things and headed out into the countryside, settling in a small, remote town. Everything went on as normal for a while. The supernatural activity subsided, and I was able to regain a sense of peace and security. But one night, lying in bed, I heard a familiar sound, the heavy, panting breath that had haunted me for so long. In a panic, I turned on the light and saw a shimmering, ghostly figure at the headboard of my bed. It was her, the murdered woman, her face contorted in agony. "You can't escape me," she wheezed, her voice a terrifying, agonizing whisper. "I'll never let you go," I screamed, trying to break free, but the ghostly presence simply vanished. I sat there trembling, realizing with horror that there was no escape from this entity. It had attached itself to me, determined to torment me for the rest of my days.